Taylor Bateman.
Questions about your experience in film at UVU. So you're currently a senior. What year did you start college?
In 2019. Well, I actually started at SUU down in Cedar City, and I majored in psychology for a year. I realized I wanted to go into film because I was still writing scripts and shot lists and stuff on the side as a hobby, and I was way more excited about that than any of my psychology homework. So I was like, might as well study it. I either wanted to direct or go into editing, because those were the two that I had been doing already before starting school. My dad is the person that got me into film. I remember very clearly in 7th grade when we had our shadow day. We were supposed to shadow like a job we wanted to be someday or something and had the day off school. He took me to see Gravity in the theater. And then we talked all day about how they made the film, and we watched behind the scenes stuff. And that was the day that I was like, yeah, this is for me. This fits. Both my parents are in film, so I was kind of already surrounded by film a lot, and like every time we would all watch a movie as a family, we would spend the next hour just debriefing about it and talking about what worked and what didn't work, and that's just how I grew up. And then I started making my own movies when I was like maybe 9 years old. With like, I got an iPad mini that was like this big for Christmas, and I just started making, I just like rounded up all the neighborhood kids, and we made lots of little cringy films and horror movies and spy movies and superhero movies, and all directed by me, and I still have this today.
Do you remember the first name of the first film you ever directed?
I think it was a music video. And I've always been super visual with the way that I think about films. Like even when I think back, I remember like the visuals I had in my head when I was thinking about the music video and exactly who I was going to cast and exactly how I was going to shoot it.
Do you have a favorite director that you look up to?
Yes, Guy Ritchie. He's my favorite. I also love Alexander Payne too. I just saw The Holdovers and it was so good. His filmmaking style is just really similar to mine. I think that's why I like him so much. And he does just really creative things with dialogue and the way he shoots.
What would you say your film style making is in your own words?
I would say it's fast-paced and witty and kind of clever, kind of like a Knives Out situation. There's a huge reason why a lot of directors write their own stuff too, because we see things in our head and we want to get them down as fast as possible. Anytime I am thinking of a project and start having that kind of passion for it, I have this thing inside me that I feel like I need to get this out as soon as possible. And then I just spend all of my free time writing storyboards and scripts for it and designing characters and anything I can possibly do to get it out of my head and onto paper or something like tangible. But yeah, when I'm writing, I'm definitely thinking about every shot. And I think that's not a plus, because as I'm writing the script, I had a few people look over it, and I realized I was just adding on so many things with camera that I didn't need to, just because I was visualizing every shot. And in some aspects, that's great, and in some it's not, because if you're wanting to write a script, let's say you're writing a script for someone else to direct, all of the camera work and the visuals and the way they want to tell the story is up to them. And so if you write too much of that, there's nowhere for that to go. There's nowhere for that to be original for someone else, if that makes sense. I really want to get into music videos, really, really bad. And I think a lot of other people do too, and there's not much money in music videos, so it's hard to get into, but I made one and I have been hooked. My dad's a composer, and so I grew up learning all about the ways that music can affect film. A lot of the scripts that I write come from music. Like I have a playlist of just like 200 songs that I have visually mapped out every single shot I would do if I was making a music video for it. So I just want to get them made. So as a senior, all the seniors have to go through the capstone process where we it's like a combination of everything we've learned in all of our classes, and we do one BIM project to represent us. It's determined based on which track you're in. So my capstone is called That's Not My Fault. It's a pilot episode.
Okay, and how many episodes are you wanting to make?
8. It's about 2 sisters who run away from home and decide to crash in this big, huge mansion. They throw a big party there, and at the end, they end up accidentally killing the owner that they didn't know was there. The story was definitely inspired by me and my sister's relationship. Just growing up with one sister, I think I wrote it kind of about us.
Is there a certain actress or actor that you would love to work with in the future?
Oh my gosh, yes. My actors for my capstone were so incredible. And it's fun, like I've never experienced this before, but a lot of directors kind of find their network of actors that they want to use for all their projects. And I'm like, I found them. I just found them. It's so cool. And I found all 3 of the leads from different things other than our casting calls, which were funny because we had like 3 different casting calls and 3 different callbacks. And we never went with any of those people. I found the girl playing the older sister, Jackie. I found her from a project from my dad that my dad did. I found the girl playing Elle I watched her in a play, and I walked up to her afterwards and said, hey, will you be in my film? And then the other actress, Eden, I found from a different capstone that I directed too. But they're all just so talented. And it's so fun working with talented actors because you get to explore the characters together, and they bring so many different things that I would have never thought of to the characters. And they just make the story alive in a way that I didn't think could even happen. It was cool.
What has been your favorite thing about being on the directing track?
Just the fact that we take classes from everything, because as a director, you want to make sure you have your foot in all of the different departments, at least a little bit. So you know how to explain your visuals in a way that makes sense to all the departments. So like we have to take a couple acting classes because when you're talking to actors, you want to be able to learn how to speak in their language. And same with talking with a cinematographer, you want to know how to explain your visuals in your head to someone who's a cinematographer. And so it's really fun to just kind of learn all the different little aspects that go into making a film, and there's so many of them. My biggest thing is I just wanted to make it a learning experience and a fun experience for everybody that was on the crew. Because I've been a part of projects where that wasn't the case, and I think I needed it. I needed it to be a learning experience for me too, because it was kind of the very first thing, it was the very first narrative short that I had directed. And so, yeah, I just wanted it to be a positive learning experience for everyone, and I definitely learned a lot. I'm such a social and extroverted person that having so many people to direct at the same time was just like such a rush for me.
Do you feel like you work better with certain people in the film world?
All directors are different. Some work more with the actors and let all of the camera work and lighting and everything else be turned on to the DP. Some directors don't really work with actors as much. Some kind of are mixed in with both. I would say I like to be mixed in with everything because a big thing for me senior year is just learning. You know, I also want to learn all aspects of everything. And I'm also a videographer on the side. So all of my work has to do with me also filming and also editing my own stuff. And so I think I'm used to kind of being a part of all of it.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experience as a videographer?
Yeah, I started videography maybe 4 or 5 years ago professionally. It's been really cool to see the differences and the similarities between being a videographer and being a film director. And I would say that's what makes me really unique as a videographer is that I'm going through film school at the same time. So to me, when I'm filming a wedding or an event or a commercial, it's less about the editing and it's less about just getting content out there, and it's more about storytelling.
What are some of the trials and tribulations that you faced?
There are lots of trials about being a woman in film, even a woman in videography. I cannot tell you how many times I've showed up for a job and I'm not recognized, even with my camera, or even said hello to because they thought the tailor that was showing up was a boy. At UVU, I feel very welcome here as a female director. I think everyone recognizes the trials that female directors and just women in film have to go through, that it's just, everyone is very aware of it here. And so you feel very welcome because everyone is part of this community and everyone works hard to make sure everyone feels welcome.
What would your advice be to the young girls out there that are interested in the film world?
My advice would be, I don't know if this is cliche or not, but my advice for everyone, my advice for other women in film, especially going through your senior year, especially going through the capstone process, is just to believe in yourself and keep pushing forward, because imposter syndrome is such a huge part of senior year. Like, I went through it so many times where I did not think my project was going to get produced. I didn't think I was going to be able to write it. I didn't think I was going to be able to film it. I didn't think I was going to be able to find a crew and an awesome producer like I had. And imposter syndrome is real. Like, I did not think I was going to be able to direct it so many times, but somehow you just have to keep pushing forward and you will prove to yourself that you can, because you can. Don't forget your passion, find your people, and once you find your people, it doesn't feel like work, you know what I mean? It feels like you are creating something together, and you don't forget why you went into film in the first place.
I have one last question for you. What is your favorite movie?
You cannot ask film people what their favorite movie is. And because of that, I always say Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
And why is that your favorite?
Because it's so iconic and it gets a laugh every time I say it. That's why. Director Shawnee.
That's a good.
Cutting. It's a little It's a little autobiographical. How do you say that? Oh my gosh, how long are they gonna do that for? My foot is asleep.
Intermission.
Intermission, please.